Greetings, free thinkers. Welcome to the Hoggcast. How are you doing today? I hope you're doing fine. I certainly am. Okay, what do we have for you on today's episode? We have for you 3 clips to watch. 1 is new, and 2 are context clips. You've probably seen them before, but I need to show you them because, look, it's out of the question now. I mean, I can make my point. You can probably make your point to people you know in your life, but if people are what Mr. Scott Morrison thinks people are, then no amount of talking to them is going to matter at all. Scott Morrison is referring to the unpoked as getting the sheep through the gate. Now, the other two clips I've got to show you is one of Scott Morrison using such lovely postmodern terms as New World Order. New World Order. Getting the sheep through the gate. 2 weeks to stop the spread. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. And then the third clip I have to show you is of a chief medical officer, I believe of Perth, Australia, because it's all Australia, who again uses the term New World Order. I mean, it's alright the mainstream media, saying this person's a conspiracy theorist, that person's a conspiracy theorist, but if the people who we are critiquing are using the phrases themselves, we're not putting words in their mouth, if they use the phrases themselves, how can you call anyone a conspiracy theorist? I'd love to know. I mean, tell me. I want to know. So I'm going to show you these 3 clips. I'm going to critique them as we go along, and then at the end, let me know in the comment section. Am I wrong? Am I looking too deeply into things by merely taking a man and a woman at their words, the words that come out of their mouth? Not mine, not yours, not somebody else's, theirs. So we'll get into this now. If you haven't yet though, please like the video, subscribe to the Hoggcast, hit the notification bell and share the video around. If you find this video informative, we are shadow banned and deboosted because we are conservative commentators. We are the underdog. I also have a membership scheme which you can join. I have 8 amazing, beautiful members who humble me and honour me that they actually have become a member of the Hoggcast. It's just crazy that 8 people in our quiet little corner of YouTube value my content as much as they do, and I love you for that. And you can be member 9 if you so choose. Let's go. Okay, first clip. It's quite short, 15 seconds. This is your getting the sheep through the gate clip.
I appreciate greatly the work done by all the premiers and chief ministers and seeing those national vaccination rates get to where they are. We've got one more state to get through that gate. As it's a bit like getting the sheep through the gate and into the run. I appreciate greatly the work done by all the premiers and chief ministers and seeing.
Sounds like he says sheep minister, doesn't it? I know he says chief minister, but given the context of the clip, it sounds as if he says sheep minister. That would probably be a more apt name, really. And because I get a lot of my clips from Twitter. I mean, I think Twitter's a crap place to be, but I only go there to get clips. And there's plenty of people in the responses saying, well, some of us are rams, some of us are wolves in sheep's clothing. Yeah, I'm sure you are. Really. No, honestly, because look, it's like we all laugh about saying let's go Brandon and that, but there are people out there who actually think that they are resisting the postmodernist, globalist push, the invasion into their lives by going on the internet and going just typing let's go Brandon, as if that's an adequate rebuttal to this man here, for example, who clearly thinks you and me are sheep that need to be gotten through the gate. This clip on its own would be enough to raise suspicion. You'd think, well, hang on a minute, why is he saying that? But it gets worse, and we'll get into that now. So you've just heard Scott Morrison, Prime Minister of Australia, referring to people who are unpoked as sheep that need to be gotten through the gate. This is an older clip, still in the old COVID era, the 2 weeks to stop the spread, remember? Listen to the words, right, that he's saying.
The global pandemic, of course, the recession it has caused, and the business-led global recovery the world...
Sorry. It wasn't the pandemic that caused the recession. It was the response, the knee-jerk response of Western politicians, largely, in opposition to their own electorate, that caused it. Yeah? It's not the pandemic that caused it. It's ineptitude, stupidity, and greed of politicians.
Now needs to restore lives and livelihoods. A global trading system and a rule...
So you're going to hear the word global. The word global is going to come up a lot in this.
...based order that...
And order. Sorry, I keep interrupting, right? But remember, you're going to hear the words global and order quite a lot.
Of course, the recession it has caused, and the business-led global recovery the world now needs to restore lives and livelihoods. A global trading system and a rules-based order that is under serious strain.
What does all this have to do with the pandemic? You see, this is what I mean, right? No, this has never been done with anything before. They didn't even do this, like, with, remember swine flu? Do you remember that? And the others, right? But there's something about this that's made them think now is the time. There's something about Donald Trump's election that I think spooked these globalists. I think look, you know that they think we're stupid. But the election of Donald Trump, despite the fact that the establishment did every dirty underhand trick to stop him from getting elected, it spooked them. So they are, this is just my opinion, but I think that they're advancing, that they are pushing forward quicker than they would have done before.
And threat. A new global energy economy is rising with profound implications for Australia as the world deals and addresses climate change. And how we succeed and prosper in this new net zero emissions economy without putting at risk.
So, again, he's saying words like new, net zero economy, and all this stuff, yeah? Why isn't anyone asking, what does this have to do with COVID? Why are you bringing a climate change into COVID? Do you understand what I mean? If you have a brain, and I think that the people who watch this channel certainly do have a brain, you've got a brain, you naturally ask, why are they pushing all of this? I mean, I thought you just wanted 2 weeks to stop the spread. Now you're talking about new global net zero economies as a response to COVID.
Our resources, manufacturing, heavy industries, the jobs of Australians, especially in regional Australia, without imposing higher costs on Australian families and how we keep the lights on, and not surrender the economic advantages that Australians have had.
I'll tell you, I've got a better idea. Why don't you just go back to what you had before, and then you wouldn't have to worry about not keeping the lights on? How about that one? Why don't you put it to your electorate? You serve the people. You've forgotten that. Put this crap, don't put all this crap to these people in the audience, the globalist set who want to hear all this. Go to your electorate and tell them this. You tell your electorate one thing, and then you tell your buddies another thing. But hey, Scott Morrison, your electorate are just sheep that need to get through the gate. Am I right?
That's where Australia's national interest lies. It's not an argument about climate change. It's about how Australia is best able to advance our interests as part of a world that is dealing with climate change, and as we indeed are dealing with climate change. It's not about if, it's or when. It's about protecting and advancing Australia's interests in a new net zero global energy economy. In that context, it's about the how. However, above all,
he just said it wasn't about the how, but now it is about the how.
The defining issue, I believe, for global and regional security is about the stability that we're currently seeking to maximise. That regional stability and security upon which our security, our prosperity, our way of life depends.
You notice that most of this is just words with nothing. It's just empty-headed crap. It's just... It's hard to actually understand what he's saying. This is politician, right? This is the art of the politician, yeah? To open your mouth, shit flows out, and then it just... The only people who buy it are the sheep, and as Scott has told you, as he's told me, as he's told everyone, we're just sheep that need to go through the gate, and sheep don't think. Sheep don't think.
And that is occurring at a time of escalating great power strategic competition. Rapid military modernisation, tension over territorial claims, heightened economic coercion, undermining of international law.
The only people who are engaging in economic coercion and are being in breach of international law are the people who wax lyrical about it all the time. Western politicians, some of the most corrupt people God has ever put on earth.
Including the law of the sea, through to enhanced disinformation, foreign interference, cyber threats, enabled by new and emerging technologies. A lot to talk about in Cornwall. And as we meet together in Cornwall, our patterns of cooperation within a liberal rules-based order that have benefited us...
A liberal rules-based order? What the hell does that mean? A liberal rules-based order? What does it mean? If you get through all of this crap, he's talking about very globalist issues. He's using words like global, order, new. All of these buzzwords, yeah, that hint at what's really going on behind the scenes, yeah? New World Order.
For so long, we know they're under renewed strain. It was the American scholar Robert Kagan warned, and I've referred to this in other remarks, the jungle is growing back. And as leaders of some of the world's largest liberal democracies and advanced economies, we must tend to the gardening with renewed clarity, unity and purpose. Our challenge is nothing less than to reinforce, renovate and buttress a world order that favours freedom.
A world order. A world order. Well, that favours freedom. Says the man that... Right. Get this. Get it into your skull, yeah? This is the man who is responsible. You've probably seen this. I've done videos on it about these internment camps in Australia. This is the guy who wants a new world order that favours freedom. The guy with the concentration camps favours freedom. That's like saying the guy from WW2 with the little moustache that goes like that. I'm sure you know who I'm talking about. That's like saying that he is a champion for the Jewish cause. Speaking of Germans, I've noticed that today my hat looks a bit like a German helmet. I don't know why. It's either the angle of the camera or the fact that I've got the headphones on, or I don't know, but it kind of looks like a German helmet, doesn't it? What do you think? I think so. Anyway, look. So you've heard from the person, Scott Morrison. He thinks you're a sheep. He wants the New World Order. He talks out of his rear end. His mouth is basically an anus, a globalist anus that just goes like that. Yeah. So this is the Australian Public Health Chief, right? Who also uses the phrase New World Order.
Back in place, especially with reopening and people going back to pubs and stuff, because our exposure sites still, will they be put back in place to be listed once we are reopening, because they're not at the moment?
We will be looking at what contact tracing looks like in the New World Order. And yes, it will be pubs and clubs and other things if we have...
Oh, we know, because like I said, this clip's quite old, and I was showing you it to give context to Scott Morrison and his new clip in which he refers to the unpoked as sheep that need to be herded through the gate. So, and we've also seen him use the phrases New World Order, Global Order, New this, New that, climate change, and the rest of it. And then we have the Chief Health Officer who also uses the phrase New World Order. I mean, what point do the fact checkers become the conspiracy theorists, and the conspiracy theorists become the fact checkers? Because right now, if this was like a competition, yeah, where people were scoring depending on who's right and who's wrong, the so-called right-wing conspiracy theorists are trashing the left-wing fact checkers. Yeah? I'll leave it there. I mean, we'll listen to what she's got to say one more time, and then I'll leave it there because I've made my case. Right? I've made it.
Especially with reopening and people going back to pubs and stuff, because our exposure sites still, will they be put back in place to be listed once we are reopening? Because they're not at the moment.
We will be looking at what contact tracing looks like in the New World Order. And yes, it will be pubs and clubs and other things if we have a positive case there.
It's so blatant that it just astounds me. Really, it does. This is why the dislike button gets hidden. This is why conservative commentators such as myself get shadow banned and deboosted. They don't. You can't criticise this, right? They don't want you to criticise them, and it just shows you that there is a deep-seated underlying dishonesty, hemisphere-wide. Yeah. Would you honestly trust? You're going to trust this person's unelected, and she's going to dictate to you about what the New World Order is going to look like. Did they ever put this to the electorate? Did they ever say, hey, do you want this? They've forgotten what their role in society is. This is politicians. They've forgotten. It's reached a point now where they think that we exist to provide them with power, where they don't realise that actually they're our servants, and they exist, and their existence is supposed to provide us with security. Yeah, that's the whole idea of a government. We'll go to work, pay the taxes, you deal with the security. But you've forgotten what your role is. You think you're landed gentry, like prelates. That's what you think you are. You think you're our prelate, our lord. Anyway, I'll leave it there. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments section below. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.